Welcome back to the channel, and in this week's video see how I held up after Ashby 20 and what I'm doing to get back to that training following the big race. So I'm on the Cloud Trail again, this time on a Tuesday evening, and not really brought the same weather this week as it's wet and windy and a little bit cold, so not really sort of a positive endorphins you get from running in the sun, but it'll do. It's a first recovery run since Ashby, so I took Monday off. I did a Zwift in the evening for 40 minutes, nice and easy on the bike, but decided not to run on Monday, and it proved to be a good decision because I've seemed to have bounced back okay. I felt straight after the race that I wasn't any worse than usual after a 20 miler, and I expected to be a bit worse with only doing a 15 mile the week before in the build-up. So really positive sign, but I've not done any damage to my hip and I've not really got any DOMs, so I can get back to jogging pretty much a normal week now. I'm looking forward to getting to the physio after this to assess how my hip is. To be honest, it feels like not much different to the previous week, but if we can get some indication of what I can be doing to make it better, I just want that clarity really to be able to get back to it.
It was nice also to pair this with meeting Sam, one of the athletes I coach. So he was moving well on his tempo session here, so just done one of the first reps.
You're joining me again on Saturday, and it's something that I've not been able to do really this year, or at least in quite a while, and that's a run up to the Conkers parkrun and run back. So this morning's run is going to be about 9.5 to 10 miles, depending on sort of which route I take, and that's the sort of longest I've been on a run that's not sort of traditionally a long run since probably the last 3 months or so. So it's a real positive sign that I'm getting a bit of fitness back. My rehab's going okay, and whilst I can't do anything fast at the moment, it is nice to know that I'm able to progress that volume and get back to the things that I used to do in a normal training routine. I've been to the physio again this week, and a bit more of an update and a bit more positive really. So it's good news is that the glute issue that I've been working on for about a month now with the banded exercises, my tendinopathy is sort of going down a little bit. It's obviously a lot stronger from doing all that exercise, and I feel like it's getting a little bit back to normal now, so good news in that aspect. But I've got a couple of things to work on, and realistically it's still going to be, I think, probably a month or so until I can at least attempt getting back to what is a sort of normal training for me. We're doing the sessions, doing a good volume in the week and getting some faster running in. So what I've got to do before that really is to strengthen my hamstring. So we found that was a weak point. We did some tests in the gym, and it's quite humbling really to see that sort of the benchmark really when I asked for someone really who doesn't do any exercise, doesn't do a lot of fitness, is that you should be able to, on the hamstring curl, really be capable of doing half your body weight. And I was really struggling with this on both legs, and that makes sense really because I don't really do any specific hamstring strengthening exercises. You really think that running should develop this, but if I have been running and using sort of more of my glute tendons, my hip flexors, those kinds of muscles, and not really using my hamstrings and glutes, then that's probably why they're not very strong. So if I can strengthen this up, I've got some exercises to do, work on strengthening the hamstrings, which the hamstring has led to some tightness and a bit of damage on one of my adductors, which is the reason behind that pain I'm getting on the internal rotation. So that's, at least I've got some answers and I've got something to work towards. But it's a bit frustrating knowing I've still got quite a bit of time really to keep being patient before I can get back to normal.
And we are away at another park run at Conkers, so just following Robbie in the light blue Valencia jacket there. So the start of this park run takes you under the bridge and then we sort of work our way up the hill for the first stretch. We're now up the hill and onto the level, so this is about my favourite part of the course, where you're just descending gradually downhill for the rest of the first mile.
Thank you. It's Sunday morning and I'm out on the Cloud Trail for my long run, so second visit of the week to the Cloud Trail. I'm starting to be a bit of a regular here again, which is good news because it means I'm back doing a bit more running. So today I've been joined by Sam, who was running here on Wednesday, who I coach, with Steve and Robbie, who did parkrun with Robbie for a brief bit yesterday, and they've got a bit of a longer session, so I joined with them for their warm-up for 3 miles, and then I've let them disappear into the distance while they're doing the marathon session, and I'm just doing a sort of easy long run here. So the plan is to get as close to 20 miles as I can. I'm going to do 6 out and then 6 back, grab a drink and have a gel and stuff at the car, and then go out again. And I'll judge to see sort of how I'm feeling on the way back out. If I can get 4 out, 4 back, that's the 20. But if not, I'll just see how the hip holds up. I'm coming up to about 12 miles now of my run, so I've done the 6 out and back. I'm heading back to the car to grab a bit of a drink. I've had some gel. I'm feeling pretty good, to be honest. I was worried that I'd get to this stage and I'd be ready to pack it in and cut it short at about 12 miles, but I'm going to try and get that 4 out and back to round up to 20. And I think what's helped this week is I've been a bit more conscious about my running form, remembering to sort of run tall, all the basics really, cycling my legs rather than sort of shuffling. and it's been a bit kinder on my hip, maintaining that good form. As opposed to Ashby last weekend, I think I've maybe let this drop a little bit going up the hills and I was getting a bit tired, and that caused a bit of extra fatigue. So the flat and better form has helped a lot this week.
And that wraps up another training week, and in total this week it was 44 miles, which is a little bit down on last week. Obviously my long run wasn't quite as long, and I had a couple of days off this week on the Monday after Ashby 20, and I had a day off on Friday with just not feeling too well in general. So did one bike session this week, which was a little bit lower than normal, and 3 swims, which was about on track really. So I know that I'm not going to be able to do as much cross training now I'm back running a little bit more, but I still want to keep this as a part of my week going forwards. And in terms of what I've got coming up, so I had mentioned before that I've been training for the Boston Marathon, which is the UK version of the event that goes over in America on the same weekend. So that's from 2 weeks away now. So I had been upping my training in preparation for this, but just solely to get through on the distance. I'm not really bothered about the time. I just wanted something to aim for. Like with Ashby, I've got something I can focus my training towards whilst I'm still sort of building up my fitness and getting back into a good running routine. But actually, as it turns out, I'd entered the Manchester Marathon around this time last year, just after last year's event. So I've got a bid for that, and it's another week out. So I've been able to defer my Boston Marathon entry until next year, which is great. I can run that in 2027. I've got my marathon sorted for that, and it was one I was really looking forward to run this year. But it'll be great to get on the start line at Manchester this year in 3 weeks' time, and sort of gives me another week really. So I'm not rushing, but I've got to be ready for my marathon. I've done a 20 miles last weekend, I've done a 17.5 this weekend, and I'll be able to get another long run in on the following weekend. So I feel a little bit more ready and a bit more prepared going into Manchester Marathon. So stay tuned to see how I get on in my training next week, and I'll be back with another video this time next week. We'll see you in the next one.